Rupendra, can you see my screen on YouTube?
Hi, sir. Yes.
Okay, so let's start, guys. How is everyone?
Sure, sir. Good, sir. Good.
Guys, I'm giving you all the chance to speak, so I'm unmuting all your microphones. Okay, so let's start now. Today, we're going to talk about two kinds of sentences, complex sentence and the compound complex sentence. To understand all this, first we have to take into context. Now, why is writing varieties of sentences so important in all these tests? Alphabeta Tech Support, the audio is giving me feedback with a delay of 10 seconds.
It's all right, sir. You can continue.
It's really loud and very disruptive. Oh, okay. So first we'll try to understand compound sentences. Right. So first, to understand how we will write complex sentences and compound complex sentences, let's understand compound sentences first. Now, compound sentences simply two SVOs that have been joined by any one of these coordinators. Can you see this list of coordinators here? These are all coordinating conjunctions. And they basically join independent clauses. Now, first, let's understand what an independent clause is. What you see in the brackets is an independent clause. It is a standalone SVO. Standalone means that it imparts meaning by itself. I tried to speak Spanish with a full stop is a complete thought. So that is an independent clause. My friend tried to speak English is also a complete thought. Technically, grammatically, a complete sentence, let's say. So two complete thoughts joined by and, or, but, yet, for, so are basically a compound sentence. Now look at how these different thoughts have been joined by these conjunctions. See how the conjunction has been chosen in accordance with the relationship between the clauses, between the independents. Alejandro played football, so Maria went shopping is a cause and effect. So has been chosen in between. Alejandro. Now first, let's learn a very simple comma rule with a compound sentence. Whole sentence, there is no gap. I sang and Maria danced. However, when you repeat this sentence that you see right at the bottom of the screen now, There's a small gap at this point. I sat down on the sofa and Maria put on a DVD. So in a slightly longer SVO, the comma is quite imperative. Now let's do some short exercises. Let's all try to participate, guys. RK Bhandari, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure, sir. Nicely. It's very nice. Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, Sham, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Those of you who are tuned in, please try to complete these sentences. Remember, you have to use a complete clause.
He did not want to go to the movie, so he decided to clean his room.
Yeah, that sounds good, Sham. He didn't want to go to the movies, so he decided to stay in his room. Can you try the next one?
She did everything she could to pass the test, uh, but hard luck, maybe like, but she couldn't make it.
Yes, she couldn't pass the test. She couldn't pass it.
Hmm.
I'll try the next one. He studied all day and all night for the test, for he really wanted to pass.
Hmm.
Can you try the next one?
The company added another new product yesterday, and the response was amazing.
Correct. All right, great, guys, great. Okay, so moving on. We have understood what a compound sentence is. Now we will look at two kinds of complex sentences. The first kind uses something called an adjective clause. The second kind uses something called an adverb clause. First, let's concentrate on adjective clauses. Before that, let's recap on what an adjective is. An adjective is a word that describes a noun or a pronoun. For example, he is a tall man. The noun man has been described by tall. So tall is the adjective. Or she is very kind. Kind describes the pronoun she. So kind is the adjective here. So adjective clauses function just like adjectives. They describe things and persons and places. Now, look at a few examples of adjective clauses. All the stuff in the bold is the adjective clause. Now, what you can see is there is one independent clause, and this is the independent clause. The child is in hospital. Okay, I've just muted one of you because there was too much background noise. So now the independent clause is the child is in hospital. And this adjective clause right here describes the subject of the independent clause. So what you're basically seeing is S, V, O with an adjective clause that is describing the S of the independent clause. Now look at the second example, guys. She's the child who ate the contaminated candy. What you are seeing here is S, V, O, and then an adjective clause. The independent clause is she is the child. Now this adjective clause is basically describing the object. Which child? The one who ate the contaminated candy. So these are the two locations of the adjective clause. Now let's look internally into the adjective clause, guys. Now first, in the adjective clause, you see a relative pronoun. Who, where, why, what, when, that, how, these are all relative pronouns. They're used in a variety of ways. Here, they are actually clause markers. They mark off the adjective clause. Now, the most important thing about the relative pronoun is it must be chosen according to what is being described. Here, a person is being described, so who has been chosen? So first, there's the relative pronoun. Then there's the verb. The verb in this case is ate. After that, there is the object. Here, the object is the contaminated candy. So the entire structure of the adjective clause here is firstly the relative pronoun, then the verb, and then the object. Now let's look at all the different relative pronouns, and let's keep on understanding more about the positions and the internal structures of adjective clauses. Now, the first example on your screen, guys. This one right here. What you are seeing is S, V, that is the independent clause. The man has been caught. And this adjective clause is describing the subject. It is answering the question, which man? Note the relative pronoun who has been chosen correctly because man is a person. Here is the verb and here is the object. In the second example, what you're seeing is S, V, O, and then an adjective clause describing the O. The O, secretary, is a person, so who has been chosen? Who is followed by verb and object. Another clause marker that is used in adjective clauses is whom. Now, there's a slight difference between the two. I will discuss the difference first. Now, I'll discuss the difference later, rather. Now, let's look at this adjective clause here. This is the first location of the adjective clause. It splits up the subject and the verb. So this is your independent clause. The teacher now teaches at Yale. This adjective clause is describing the subject teacher. Now, can you see the difference between who and whom? Who in the previous examples was followed by a verb. Whom in this example is followed by a subject. This is a very common error, who versus whom. And it's tested on tests like the GMAT and the SATs. Whom can never be followed by a verb. only who can be followed by a verb. Whom must be followed by a subject. Next, let's keep on revising the locations for adjective clauses. Here, what you are seeing is S, the balloon, adjective clause, V, O. The independent clause is the balloon burst almost immediately. This adjective clause describes the subject balloon. Balloon is a thing, so which has been chosen here? Who cannot be chosen? This is a person, so which cannot be chosen? Who must be chosen? Next, that as a clause marker for adjective clauses. In both these examples, what you can see is SVO and then adjective clause. That is used when people and things are being described. It can be used to describe things too. Now, let me give you an example. Here's my example. Now, see, watch is a thing, and that has been used perfectly to describe the thing. The independent clause in my example is the watch has been stolen. The full sentence is the watch that I purchased at Christmas has been stolen. Okay, continuing, guys. Whose is yet another adjective clause marker. Whose indicates possession, a possessional relationship. Note this adjective clause is describing the subject here, whose car broke down. Describes woman. The adjective clause takes whose when the subject of the adjective clause is owned by the subject of the independent clause. So car belonged to women. Of course, you cannot get confused between these two, WHOSE and WHO''S. This is a contraction of who is or who has. Next, where. Note this is the second location of the adjective clause. In the example, you are saying SVO, we will meet at the park, followed by an adjective clause that describes the O park. Which park? The one where the public meeting was held yesterday. Last week. Now, this is an example of the pronoun being used incorrectly. Sorry, guys. This is an example of the pronoun being used incorrectly. Where can only be used to describe a place, nothing else. So here, agreement is not a place, therefore where cannot be used. When, the next adjective clause marker. Keep looking at the location of the adjective clause. What you are seeing on your screens is, in this example, SVO, and then adjective clause describing the O. Day is a time, therefore when has been used. Whereby is used only to describe terms and conditions of any kind of understanding. Here also you are saying, S, my wife and I, we came, O to an understanding, and then the adjective clause that describes understanding. Let's do some exercises, guys. Look at all these examples. This is a very simple exercise. All you have to do is fill in the blanks with the rest of the adjective clause. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. So look at all the examples. Fill in. Okay, Sham, would you like to try the first one?
Sure, sir. The student who came first in the exams was praised by the principal.
Ah, yes, sounds good. The student who came first in the exam was praised by the principal. Okay, RK Bhandari and iPhone, whoever you are, would you
Yes,
like
sir.
to try also?
Yes, sure.
I'll try the second one.
He is the award-winning scientist who innovated the new things.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
He is the award-winning scientist who innovated the new things.
Ah, okay. He is the award-winning scientist who innovated many new things. Yes, sounds good. Okay, Sham, do you want to try one more?
Uh, the man who led the army against ... has been awarded the country's highest military prize.
Okay. I'll try the last one. The man who won the raffle purchased a mobile phone that was customized for his needs.
Wow.
Okay, guys, moving on. Now we'll move on to the next kind of sentence we're going to cover today. Complex sentences with adverb clauses. Now, let me give you some examples. Now, look at this sentence, guys. Although it was raining, he did not take an umbrella. This is a compound sentence with an adverb clause. Here, although is the subordinate conjunction. Although it was raining is the adverb clause. The adverb clause is always used with an independent clause. Here, he failed the exam is the independent clause because it's a standalone sentence. Even though he had studied the material, the adverb clause is not independent. It is not a standalone sentence. Even though he had studied the material does not convey a complete meaning. Now see how the independent and the dependent adverb clause have interchangeable places. They can just switch positions like this. And there's a tiny difference in punctuation. This one right here. Notice in this location, there is no comma. Whenever you start this kind of complex sentence with an adverb clause, you start with words like though, even though, because. Then there must be a comma between the two clauses. Now when though, even though, because, etc. are in the middle of the sentence, the adverb clause is the second clause in the sentence. No comma is needed. The comma usage is basically indicative of a small gap when we speak. In the first example, this one right here, how people would normally say this is like this. Even though he'd studied the material, he failed the exam. There's a tiny gap. That is basically the comma. Now, note, these make up one family of subordinate conjunctions that start off an adverb clause. I am sure you are familiar with all of them. They are used for opposites. For example, although I am tall, all my friends are short. Or they're used for ironies. Ironies are unexpected ideas. Example, although he studied hard, he failed the exam. See examples of irony, guys. Note in the first example, the second SVO is the adverb clause. In the first example, the first SVO is the adverb clause and a comma has been taken. So the although family was one family. There's a second one. This is all the clause markers of time. Please go through the list, see if you're familiar with all of them. See examples of how these clause markers give relationships of time. While here is telling you that danced and strummed happen simultaneously. By the time here is telling you first this happened, then this happened. The next kind of subordinate conjunction that introduces the adverb clause is the cause and effect subordinate clause. The cause and effect clause marker. Most commonly among these is because. Remember, because can start a sentence. Because he didn't study, he failed the exam. Because can be in the middle also when the adverb clause takes the second location. He failed the exam because he hadn't studied. Some more clause markers, so that, and such that. Note here we have so plus cause, that plus effect, such plus cause, that plus effect. Now let's do a small exercise, guys. I want all of you to try. Now you have to link these two sentences. these two lists of sentences A, B, C, D, E, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with these words here. Simply an exercise in understanding how these conjunctions are used and how to form a complete complex sentence. So write your combinations down on your notebooks, everybody. Your combinations could be A2, B3, C1, D5, E4. Write your combinations down, guys. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to complete the exercise. Sham, are you done?
Almost, sir.
Okay, take your time. No pressure.
Done, sir.
Okay, fine. Now let's match the colors, guys. Let's see if you got all these right. So match the colors like this. The correct answer is A5. She sang a song while Peter played the guitar.
Yeah.
He was included in the soccer team despite the fact that he was quite an average player. He was allowed to enter the building, though it was on lockdown. Derek was scolded by his mum because he had spilt ink on all his books. He has been teaching history since he passed out of college. Okay, now we come to the most complex sentence in the English language, the compound complex sentence. Now, because it's a compound, there must be two independent SVOs joined by and or but yet for so. Because it's a complex, it must have at least one adjective clause or one adverb clause or even a noun clause. Now, in this example, here is the compound. He is buying a car, but he really wants a Ferrari. And here is the adjective clause that defines car. Which car? The one that his wife chose. This too is a compound complex sentence. The compound is, he saw that the repairs had mostly been completed, but the workers involved in the repairs had not been paid yet. That is SVO, but SVO. And this is missing a small comma here, so I'll just put it in there. This is an adverb clause of time. So this is one compound sentence plus an adverb clause. That is a compound complex sentence. Look at this example. Here is the compound sentence. War and Peace is a landmark novel in many ways, but it also acts as a history lesson. Here is the adjective clause. It is describing lesson. Which lesson? The one that enriches the reader beyond imagination. Okay, now guys, let's do some exercise. Fill in the blank or blanks with SVOs, complete thoughts. All right, Sham, I've got your answer on chat for the first one. Though Sally had found a good job, she did not want to start it right away so that she could complete her studies first. Yes, perfect. Very nice. Let me try the second one. He went to the gym but didn't carry any water with him, though he usually drank 3 liters of water while gymming. Sham, could you complete the third one?
Sure, sir. He was feeling unwell, but he decided to go to his office because he had some urgent job pending.
Right, perfect. He was feeling unwell, but he decided to go to the office because he had some important work. Okay, I'll try the fourth one. They wanted to go to the party, so they purchased one new dress each, though their money was almost finished.
Hmm.
Sham, can you try the last one?
Okay. I am a teacher and I take 4 classes every day despite the fact that I have another full-time job. Oops. Did that sound logical? Can you hear
Ah,
me?
nice.
Okay.
I'm a teacher and I take 4 classes every day, despite the fact that I have another full-time job. Yes, very nice. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Despite is used perfectly and is used perfectly. That's the main thing.
Right, sir.
Okay, guys, that's it for our session. Those of you who would like to share this video with us, please feel free to comment. We will share this video with you. Thank you very much for coming. Stay safe, everybody. Please stay indoors. Practice social distancing. And use plenty of hand sanitizer, especially after touching surfaces. Stay safe, everybody. Stay healthy. Stay blessed. Bye-bye from Alpha Beta.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye. Have a great day.